think for me the biggest mistake, or not necessarily the biggest mistake, I think the biggest error that maybe some of the entrepreneurs make is that they underestimate the amount of time it will take to actually take the idea they have for a business from their head, get it down on paper, particularly think about, for example, the business plan, think about the impact of financing, etc. And I think it's that underestimation perhaps of the time it takes from the thought process and actually getting something concrete up and running. I think it's very easy for businesses to assume that things will go in a nice straight line. Clearly in business things very rarely do that, and occasionally things you expect to go quickly will go slowly and vice versa. So I think that's the one area for me that occasionally I see businesses struggling a little bit with. I think the one thing is I always see mentoring as a two-way process. I can give some knowledge, particularly in terms of what I've done, what I've seen, what's happened to me in the past, and I can pass that on to the mentees. But definitely the one thing I get back is exposure to these guys who have got such enthusiasm, such ambition, they've got such a passion for their own particular product, whether it be making some kind of cakes, whether it be for some kind of website design, whether or not it's for something like a beauty product. The passion these guys bring to it is immediately transferred back to me, and it immediately sparks me into life to want to do more and learn more about their businesses. I've learned a huge amount from the people I've worked with. In fact, my BSEEN mentee last year runs his own SEO and website. And one of the things I've learned from that is it's enabled me to develop my own personal website with a bit of help from him. So in that respect, it's definitely a two-way process. I think the best advice is learn from as many people as possible. Quite often I think in a mentor-mentee relationship, quite often the mentee looks at it as quite a narrow relationship in terms of their contact with the mentor. I try to encourage any of the guys I work with to go out networking, to get involved in the local community, to do as much as they can, integrating themselves within the local business environment. I think that's invaluable. One of the great things today is with the advent of social media, with the advent of the internet, it's much easier to either make contact with people than it was 20 or 30 years ago. But at the end of the day, I think some personal interaction, some face-to-face interaction is fantastic. And there's no real substitute for that. So I try to say to the mentees, look, you've got a mentor, but I will also try and open doors for them in terms of talking to other people who may have a skill set that I don't possess, who may actually have access to other people who may be a real benefit to the individual business and entrepreneurial startup.